this is Kermit the Frog.
Fascinating.
I'm Captain Kirk.
Magic is always there,
Aye, sir.
long as we keep looking for it.
Engage.
What does God need with a starship?
Thank you, love you. Mwah.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Places, please. And here we go.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
Welcome, Doozers, Gorgs, Betazoids, and things to episode 142 of MuppeTrek Podcast. I'm Jarman.
And I'm Steve. We're on a journey across the stars to compare and contrast the creative worlds of Jim Henson and Gene Roddenberry.
And what started as reviews of The Muppet Show and Star Trek the original series has expanded into outer space.
And this week we have Fraggle Rock episode, The Garden Plot, and Star Trek The Next Generation episode, The Icarus Factor.
Whatever that means. But before we get to that, Steve, I want to rock.
Well, this is That Rocks. There are all kinds of gems, jewels, and geodes in the world, many of which can be found in Fraggle Rock. And this week's gem is boleite. Soft and rare, cut versions of any color, clarity, or quality are considered the most expensive gems in the world. That is how rare this thing is in good shape. It forms deep blue to light blue, sometimes has imperfections of many different minerals in it, but typically takes very, and in some case, almost perfectly cube formations naturally. Just incredible. It was first discovered in its namesake, Boleo, Mexico, which is where boleite comes from. It's so rare, I could find very few facts about it. And that it is so rare that no one has explored commercial uses for it. Because even if they found a commercial use for it, they would never find enough of it to actually do it.
It looks crazy, like an alien. What's that cube called from the movies the Marvel movies?
Oh yeah, like the Tesseract.
The
or
Tesseract.
Something. Yes,
it looks like a
Tesseract. It's definitely the Tesseract. So it's extremely rare, and that is boleite, and that rocks.
That rocks. I have to mention there is a boleite character on the Gem and the Holograms. She looks adorable.
Oh.
It's really
she
cute. Also
a blue cube?
But she has some cube things on her, but yeah, she's adorable.
Okay, maybe.
But anyways.
All right, well, this week, what's up, Doc? So I decided I'm going to try to tell the summary from the different people's point of view. So what's up, Doc? Sprocket and Doc play charades, but Doc just can't guess as Sprocket tries to get him to say Fraggle. Doc nearly says the word multiple times. Sprocket then encounters Gobo. He grabs a hammer, trying to pound his way through the wall to finally uncover those pesky Fraggles. Sprocket continues unhingedly to beat this hole open with a croquet mallet. Pounding tirelessly. He pounds enough that a box falls from a wall and strikes him. Doc finds Sprocket tired and defeated, but he also finds the rent money they've been looking for. It was in the box that Sprocket knocked down, and Sprocket's the big hero.
Go figure.
Down in Fraggle Rock, Red hides behind a thin veil of disguise that she hasn't conquered all of her fears yet, like Gobo. Gobo retrieves Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard and slaps Sprocket. It looked like it was supposed to be accidental, but he kind of hit him. Gobo reads Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard about how silly creatures love making things roll so much that some of them have grown rollers right on their own feet. We'll get more of that later. Red attacks Gobo's character repeatedly in this episode, and then Gobo takes pot shots at Red for being a fraidy cat and not having the courage and not wanting to go face the Gorgs. So what does Red do? She heads to the Gorgs garden to get a radish to prove how brave she is. While there, she overhears that Junior Gorg plans to smash Fraggle Rock, seemingly without reason. But when she goes back to reach to warn the others, they ignore her, opting to concentrate on the beast from outer space, also trying to break into Fraggle Rock with a hammer. Fraggle Rock, I wrote down, Fraggle Rock is getting hammered in both ends, in both holes.
This is a children's show.
I didn't make the theme. Red watches on at the Gorg's garden singing Afraid to Be Afraid, where she questions who she is and why she can't face her own emotions. Gobo goes out to the garden to find Red, but he doesn't see her at first. He gets caught in an explosion. Red and Boober run to Gobo, who is covered in debris. Boober goes to get the others, but Junior Gorg grabs him. Red confronts the Gorg. Tying his shoelaces, he falls down, hitting his head, putting him into a daze. Gobo is hurt and delusional. He thinks that Red is Uncle Traveling Matt and wants them to sing him a song. Much to goo or something. God, I wrote down and autocorrect took over. I'll look it up. Muck and goo. Thanks, autocorrect. Red sings the song as Gobo has a delusion of singing it with Uncle Traveling Matt when he was young. Gobo comes to, they escape the Gorg's garden, and everyone learns an important lesson. I've got a new section about doozers called What Do Doozers Do? But doozers didn't do diddly this week. So
they turned a crane once. That was it.
What do Gorgs got going on? Well, Junior is dreaming about the day that he's going to be king, and he accidentally crushes his dad's crown by sitting on it. His father comes in, is so disappointed that he sings a song about how dumb his son is and how disappointed he is in him. He just attacks his son's mental status repeatedly.
He doesn't even notice.
But then Ma and Pa Gorg depart. They've got to go as Junior heralds them out and begs and grovels in front of them. Junior then he turns his attention on how he's going to win back his dad's attention and affection and decides to get rid of that rock that the Fraggles all come out of. He grabs a sledgehammer and starts to pound. He's not making much headway, though, but he gets some inspiration and decides to use dynamite. Junior lights the fuse, blows Fraggle Rock to Kingdom Come, causing a huge mess. Well, this definitely upsets Daddy when he comes back. Junior is confronted by a mysterious voice and falls, hitting his head. Just as Pa and Ma Gorg come back, Pa convinces himself that some rival army came and attacked their castle, and Junior was there to defend it. And so he is proud of Junior for defending the castle against an attack that did not happen.
Even though the castle was blown up.
And so is a little bit, I think they called it Kissing Rock. Mm-hmm. And what Junior doesn't know is that that is where his Ma and Pa kissed for the first time and where every Gorg has their first kiss. So we have lore now.
It's a sacred
Junior
rock.
is like doomed to repeat this. And that is what Fraggle Rock is.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior chases after Pa and Ma, asking about how good of a kisser his mother is.
It
was a weird way to end it. So, Jarman, what did you think of this week's episode of Fraggle Rock?
I really like this episode because it really brings all the elements together, like that only a few episodes have done, where all there's like a B and C plot, like you broke it up in that way. They all came together so well. Outer space, Sprocket's kind of get in, Gorgs are trying to get on the other side. And kind of like the episode with the moon and the water main, those two different episodes kind of involved all three elements at the same time.
Yeah.
But I really like this one in particular. And I love that the Fraggles and the Gorgs both have the same lullaby that they both know. They both know the Muck and Goo song because it shows little baby Junior Gorg being sung it and Traveling Matt singing it to Gobo. So like they have the same kind of songs. They share some culture there somehow. But also very scary that Junior Gorg has access to dynamite because he's an idiot and he shouldn't have dynamite. This is what happens. He blows things up.
That means there's like some modern technology.
Yeah, there is some
in this universe.
They have dynamite, but they don't know how reflections work. So that's
right.
Something. But otherwise, we had no trash heap this episode. But otherwise, I think it was a really solid episode. It kind of went straight through, and there was no boring parts. It was just like action the whole time. I don't know. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think if we could have shimmied in one trash heap and just a little bit of doozer action, this could have been the perfect.
Exactly. We need more doozers always.
Pentuplet. All 5 groups represented.
That's going to be hard bargain at 23 minutes. But
it is. So I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was one of the weaker musical episodes.
That's true.
Like, I do love Dummy of a Son. Like, that is just a good upbeat song and it's performed well. But overall, this just kind of lacked the musicality that I think a lot of the big ones have.
That's true.
Or the ones that I think of as my favorite ones have. I did love, like, this felt like the most complete Gorg plot that we've gotten that wasn't at the hands of the Fraggles.
That's true.
Like, this is something that Junior just decided to do. There was no instigation from the Fraggles.
He sat in that crown. He blew up the house by accident, and that was all him.
And then this additional funny idea that Fraggle Rock is just this huge boulder in their garden.
Makes it
so
more
that
fragile.
leads me to believe that, like, the Gorgs live on some planet. The Fraggles have lived on this asteroid that was hurtling through space.
Huh.
It crashed into the Gorgs planet with such force that it broke a hole into another reality.
Is that what we're going with
world.
now?
And so the Fraggles are actually little alien inhabitants of this asteroid that broke the Gorgs world.
I like it.
And so they are able to travel between both of them. That is my new running theory.
And they've now
with
made this
the Fraggles.
gateway between the Gorg world and Earth somehow.
That's right. And if the Gorgs ever figured it out, they would take over Earth.
If there are more.
So the
of them.
Fraggles are the one thin veil between us and the Gorgs.
That's why there's magic to it. Some science we don't understand. It's interdimensional technology.
Right. It doesn't have to make sense. They're literally on a different planet somewhere.
I like it.
All right. That's my theory for now. But overall, I don't know. I really didn't dig sort of the negative tone this took a couple times. Like, Red and Gobo really go after each other's character.
That's true.
Like, a lot.
And Pa Gorg just being so mean to his son.
And Pa Gorg really goes after Junior. So in that way, I thought the negativity in the episode maybe wasn't my favorite.
That's true.
So because of that, I think this is going to end a little lower for me.
It was less dark than the other episodes have been recently, though. Like,
I don't know, but Gobo gets blown up.
Oh,
and
that's
he's having,
true.
like, delusions, and he's covered in rubble, and he's like, "Uncle Traveling Matt, sing to me."
I'm so
like,
scared.
It is so. It's like you could see that scene in Saving Private Ryan, and it would be the exact same.
Boober even says, "I hope he's not dead." It's like, geez, it's pretty dark. You're
Yeah,
right.
man. So I don't know. I think that the mood of this one maybe took it down a step or two.
I
for me.
can see that now. Yes.
But overall, a good episode.
Yeah.
But what the hell were those silly creatures up to this week? The silly creatures were riding around on rollerblades, skates, and skateboards. I decided to talk about rollerblades. Inline skates trace their roots back actually to prehistoric times, when lengths of bone were strapped to people's shoes and they were used to glide across the ice.
Whoa.
These inline skates really come from the tradition of ice skating. In the 1300s, these got switched out for metal-edged blades as metal processing came into predominance. And in 1760, J.J. Merlin made the first rudimentary track and wheel skates. It wasn't actually officially patented until 1819. Many versions were made, but it wasn't until the late 1800s that when ball bearings were invented, that the wheels were able to spin at much higher rates, much more reliably. And so because of that, they became this niche product predominantly used in speed skating. And for like 200 years, inline skates were pretty much exclusively used by speed skaters because of this development. But it wasn't until the 80s when they got a rebranding as rollerblades that they really hit their mark and had that huge vogue.
Oh, yeah.
In the early mid 80s all the way up until the mid late 90s.
That recently. Wow. This like in the roller skating rinks and all that jazz. Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I remember my parents bought rollerblades and that was their thing for a while in Florida.
Oh, yeah. We went to the skating rink all the time as kids and they haven't changed the music since.
That's right. And the smell. It's the same smell in there. Yep. But yeah, so that's what those silly creatures were up to. And German, what did you think was the best Muppeteering moment this week?
I put down that I really liked that Pa Gorg got this major screen time this time around. I don't think we've seen him that long on screen in one period of time, the whole show so far. He had a whole number to himself that he sang with Junior Gorg, but it was super cute. And they were dancing around and doing choreography because Junior was totally oblivious that he was being made fun of. And it was just, I thought that was really well done and very well danced.
A son, a dummy for a son. Dumby, some of a dumby, some of a dumby.
Yeah, I like that
I really liked the sort of in a similar vein. It was a scene with Pa Gorg, but it was when I think Junior's had his concussion and they were singing that song and he cut to Pa Gorg holding a little Junior Gorg.
Yeah.
And I thought that little Junior Gorg, for such a quick minor moment, looked so good.
Oh yeah.
That whatever hand puppet they made to mimic the giant head, that it makes me think we're going to see it again at some point.
I hope we do. Because
it makes me think it was not just a prop for this one moment in this one episode, that we will get to see a pulled out shot of the Gorg somehow at some point, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Something even bigger than a Gorg. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know from a lore perspective, but yeah. So I thought just that one moment was like, wow, they made that puppet just for this.
It was so well done. Yeah.
Right.
They better use it again.
That's right. Because now there's lore and there's tears in time and space.
Fascinating.
Speaking of tears in time and space, Jeremy, what happened in Star Trek this week?
Oh, we have the Icarus Factor. So the Enterprise is experiencing some trouble with its engines that Data and Geordi think is fine, but they decide to stop at the Starbase Montgomery to have them checked out. But on their way, Picard receives a message from Starfleet that they want to offer Riker command of his own ship on the Ares, where he would go on a possibly dangerous mission out to a distant sector to explore. But Riker isn't sure about, becoming a captain this quickly. But Picard says he has about 12 hours to decide while they're stopped at the Starbase, so he has some time to think about it. And apparently a civilian advisor has been sent to brief Riker on the details of the potential mission he would go on. And it just so happens to be his estranged father, Kyle Riker. Apparently, he and his dad haven't really talked in 15 years. After his mom died, his father never treated him the same way anymore and became distant. So they're very estranged. And he mostly tries to ignore his father when he's on the ship. But apparently, Kyle knows everybody and he's super popular. And everyone's saying hello to him and giving him high fives and stuff. And he even dated Dr. Pulaski in the past. And she still has the hots for him, apparently. Meanwhile, something is up with Worf, and he's super agitated with everyone for some reason, and Wesley wants to get to the bottom of it, so he researches Klingon customs and finally figures out that it's the 10th anniversary of Worf's ascension rites, and he has no Klingon friends on board that he can celebrate it with, so he's all grumpy about that. So Wesley enlists the help of Geordi and Data to help build the celebration for this ascension rites on the holodeck, which involves having several hologram Klingons reenact the ritual. And Troy leads Worf to the holodeck to surprise him with the ritual, and he has to get hit by wave after wave of Klingon pain sticks and make it all the way to the end of the aisle where his friends meet him at the end. And afterwards, he's very grateful to his friends, and he's in a much better mood because he got beat up a lot. So, meanwhile, Kyle and Will Riker keep bumping heads in the ship. They can't stand each other. And Troy even tries to psychoanalyze Kyle, the father, by saying he needs to stop being in competition with his own son. But she doesn't get through to him. He's still being a dick about things. And instead, they challenge each other to an Anbo-Jyutsu match, which is like a mixture of martial arts, vaguely racist thing they're going to do. Apparently, they've been doing this since Will was a small child, so they're both good at it. But even Dr. Pulaski warns Kyle, she's like, you're getting old. He's probably going to beat your ass. He's like, no, I've got a secret. So they're fighting and they're beating each other up. But then finally, Kyle cheats and uses some illegal maneuver that now that Will is older, he realizes is a cheating move you're not allowed to use. And he's finding out that apparently his father cheated on all his matches since he was 13 because he knew Will would beat him at the match. So he wanted to cheat and piss him off. And now he's pissed off Will even more. But they finally talk about their dead mom/wife and kind of hash things out and end on a positive note, which is weird. I'll talk about that later. But Kyle encourages Will to take the captain assignment on the Ares. But right at the last minute, Will decides to stay on the Enterprise as the first officer, saying it's where he belongs. And that we have the Icarus Factor. So, Steve, what'd you think about this episode?
Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I did not think much of this episode at all.
It's fair.
I did not think it was particularly good. I did not think it was particularly bad. My things I liked and things I disliked list are both the shortest they have ever been. Because this episode just was so bland.
It's fair.
And not necessarily in a negative way, but just bland. It was interesting to get a little bit of lore about like how kind of promotions work and like the idea that Riker wasn't even aware. He didn't interview for this. Right. It was just like, you have the command. Congratulations.
You've been offered the command.
Right. So that was just interesting to see. That's how Starfleet works. I did like Worf being very terse with Wesley. That was the young, bright-faced, bushy-tailed Wesley against Worf was like a very fun foil that can't remember having really seen. There was some nice between Dr. Pulaski and Riker's dad. And even I think it was 2 episodes ago, or maybe last episode, where Pulaski actually makes another reference to it.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, your father cooks?
Your father cooked?"
Yeah.
The actor that they chose for Riker's dad was like okay look-alike wise, but sound alike. Both him and Frakes have incredibly similar voices.
Oh yeah,
and even the timbre at which they speak and the pattern. There were multiple moments where I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
great casting, yeah. And he's tall
great
too.
Casting
he's
for that
robust.
voice alone. And then, per usual, like the B plot was the way better part. Data, Geordi, and Will going on a Worf hunt. And then there's some interesting dynamic pieces in there where Worf wants to go with Riker. That was like, it was so out of place. It was genuinely surprising. Things I struggled with. What a boring opening. Like, we have to go in for an engine efficiency review. Like, it's like, yeah, like, come on. And then Deanna with Riker's dad was really painful to watch. That scene.
He's like hitting on
she
her.
was supposed to be she was supposed to be giving him insight into his son, and he just couldn't stop hitting on her. Yeah. It felt bad to watch.
Yeah, because you could sense that he knew that they dated in the past, and yet he still was hitting on her, which is really creepy, really strange.
It just felt like he was trying to be in a James Bond film, and she was trying to get him not to be in a James Bond film.
I could see that.
But that's it. That's my very short list of both likes and dislikes for this episode.
Yeah, I agree with some of it. Like, I love the casting of the father. He's very similar to Will in a lot of ways.
Great.
You could totally see him being his dad. I love the relationship stuff with Dr. Pulaski. But what I didn't like a lot was the way they handled the resolution of that, because you can clearly see his father is the one in the wrong here. Like, Will was just a kid when the mom died. So him just disappearing, they never make him take full responsibility for that. They kind of make it seem like both of them are kind of at fault at the end, and they're both admitting to that. It's like, Will didn't do anything wrong. Like, you're a dick. Like, you abandoned your son for basically 15 years. So I didn't like that. That was just written strangely.
Well, and then echoed even further in them doing the fake American Gladiators fighting with the sticks, where he realizes, like, wait, you always cheated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, his dad was in the wrong this whole friggin' time.
It's funny. I was watching it with the wife, and I was saying their costumes for the fight scene looked like if you got Tron figurines from Wish or something, or from Temu, But yeah, also I love the Worf Ascension rights plot thing, which is great, because that gave Worf and Data and Geordi and Wesley some funny moments, and even Data going up to him in the 10 forward, and he just gets screamed at by Worf, and Worf's like, "Leave me the hell alone, sir," like that. I really loved at the end when Picard says to Data about the conclusion of the efficiency review. Picard's like, "It was like what you said from the beginning, Data. You were right all along." And Data just gives this big over-the-top shrug. He was just like, "Yep, I was right." It was a funny moment. But yeah, I think what this episode was strong of was good character building moments and kind of like their history. We're getting to know them better through this episode. It gave a lot of time to that, so there wasn't some big emergency happening. So it makes it a little less exciting, and it doesn't push forward a lot, but it just gives us a lot of character moments. So yeah, that's why I think it was good, but like you said, nothing stupendous or stands out, but good character moments.
If anything, I wish they would have, and they even set it up this way. Like, I wish the A plot would have been the Geordi, Wesley, Data figuring out Worf thing, and then Riker with his dad could have been like a secondary thing that got less screen time.
I think they just like the actor.
Because even they set the episode up as Geordi and Data and Wesley are going to have the week off this week. Like, that's how they set it up.
Yeah.
When they're like, "Well, you have to go in for this thing. You're not needed." I was like, "Ooh,
so
they're
you're going
free
to
do
adventure
shenanigans." Like, that should have been the setup for them being the main part of this fucking episode.
Yeah, instead it became weird efficiency testing, which was like, okay, that's fine.
Of all the gripping plot points.
Well, we have some Trek facts this episode. as all the Klingon costumes were being used for the concurrently shooting Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, most of the Klingons in this episode you see in the holodeck were wearing boots from the old Planet of the Apes TV series that they found like in a warehouse somewhere because they didn't have enough boots to go around. The old easy listening singer John Tesh was one of those Klingons in the holodeck. He was the host of Entertainment Tonight as well. And he appears as Klingon Katesh is what his canon name is. And he was apparently heavily featured on Entertainment Tonight at the time, like pumping up this episode coming out with John Tesh on it. And he's on screen for like 2 seconds. Mitchell Ryan, who played Kyle Riker, was originally a top studio choice to play Captain Picard when this was first coming out and being formed. So maybe that would explain why they pushed so much of the episode to be about him, because, you know, he almost was the captain of the Enterprise. I'm glad he wasn't, but he was good. The combat sport played between William and Kyle Riker is a fictional Japanese martial art called Anbo-Jyutsu. In proper Japanese phonetics, this would be pronounced Anbo-Jyutsu, which is how it was pronounced in the show. And apparently a real martial art is called Bo-Jutsu, which is staff fighting. It's a genuine martial art, and An means dark. The players couldn't see each other in this episode through the opaque visors, so Anbo-Jyutsu literally just means staff fighting in the dark, which was like an interesting little thing there that they actually bothered to translate that stuff. And the title, The Icarus Factor, refers to the mythical character Icarus who flies too close to the sun against the wishes of his father. So in this episode, Riker turns down the opportunity to take his own command and go on a dangerous first assignment, which his father believes he should accept. And this is contrary to the myth and shows Riker's own strength of character beyond his father's influence. So it's a very little deep cut there, mythological reference.
Yeah, fucking Daedalus, y'all.
But Steve, what are our Trek connections this week?
Well, Ensign Herbert, who was very short-lived, was played by Lance Spellerberg, an actor who was in the film Crazy in Alabama, starring Melanie Griffith, who we all know contributed a pesto recipe to the In the Kitchen with Miss Piggy cookbook in 1996.
Oh my God, how did you find that?
Google, man.
Tenuous at best.
Kyle Riker, played by Mitchell Ryan, actor, played Mr. Allen in the much beloved comedy Liar Liar, which also starred Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly did a episode of a short called Drive On with the Muppets, which was made for Disney's first attempt at a streaming service in 2014.
Wow.
And was released with digital content for Muppets Most Wanted, even though it was filmed like 2 years prior. It was this Muppet thing they made and didn't know what to do with. And so they shipped it with Muppets Most Wanted because they didn't know what to do with it.
That's so weird. Wow.
Jennifer Tilly from Liar Liar was in that.
I forgot he was in that.
He was. That happened.
That happened. Well, good connections, because they're so similar. It must have been so easy to connect these things.
Basically the same.
What do you got, Steve? How are they similar?
All right. Similarities. Both feature tenuous relationships between fathers and sons, ultimately leading to disappointment. Pa and Junior Gorg and Kyle and William Riker.
That's very true. Similarly, both feature a son having an experience involving their father kissing someone. Riker having to watch his father kiss Dr. Pulaski on the mouth in that weird scene. And then Junior Gorg learning about Fraggle Rock being Mom and Pa's Gorg kissing rock.
Kissing stone.
Stone, yeah.
Both feature sons wielding bludgeoning objects. Junior Gorg wielding his sledgehammer, bringing it down on Fraggle Rock, and William with his weird rollerball armor and padded melee hammer.
It's very weird.
With a glowing red button on the end of it.
For some reason.
Well, I think I figured out what it was supposed to be.
Because it makes noise or what?
Well, so the idea is that because they're blindfolded, like they can't see each other, the idea is that the thing on the end, I think when it lines up with the other one, it like changes color or makes noise or something, so they know they're pointed at each other.
I mean, it's like haptic feedback or something.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's what they were going for.
It made that noise and they approached each other. Yeah, it was strange. Yeah. A lot of thought went into that weird scene. It's very strange. Both feature a character having to face their fears and grow as a person. Worf has to go through the rites of ascension, getting, those pain sticks and pushing through. And Red has to show Gobo she was brave enough to get the radishes from the Gorg garden. It's true.
That's right.
That's right. But, oh, God, what's that noise?
Transporter malfunction.
Oh, God.
Transporter malfunction.
Now's the time of the episode where we take one character from one episode and switch them with the other, and vice versa. So what you got for us, Steve?
Trek to Rock this week, I'm going to bring over Riker and his dad to replace Pa and Junior Gorg.
Oh. With
the dad singing a song about his disappointing son and Riker going to great lengths to earn his approval.
Oh, I'd watch that episode. Trek to Rock, I'm going to have Worf come take the place of Junior Gorg, because he would be the true warrior prince of a son that Pa Gorg would be looking for. He's ready to take on those supposed invaders that are coming in.
Rock to Trek, bring over Sprocket and Doc to replace Geordi, Data, and Wesley in their little side plot, with Sprocket desperately doing charades to try to get Doc to guess that Worf is upset about a missed Klingon tradition.
Also, I'd watch that. Rock to Trek, I'd have Doc also to come over and replace Kyle Riker, because he'd be all folksy and win back Will Riker in no time.
It'd be so much nicer.
Yeah.
It'd be so much of a more pleasant episode.
I know I've been gone for 15 years, but I love you, son.
He calls William Sprocket for some reason the whole time.
Because he's senile.
Sprocky?
Who's Sprocky? It's you. You're Sprocky. Rubs him on the head, pats him on the head.
I'll get you a can of dog food.
Well, that brings us to the end of episode 142 of the MuppeTrek Podcast.
Join us next time for Fraggle Rock episode Gobo's Discovery.
And Star Trek The Next Generation episode Pen Pals.
So from the lovers, the dreamers, and us.
Live long and prosper, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the MuppeTrek Podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
This podcast has been brought to you by A Play on Nerds.